Okay, you're good to go, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening and welcome to our July 4th, 2023, 5:30 Committee of Adjustment meeting. Can I get a mover and a seconder to open the meeting? Moved by Councillor Jaworski, seconded by Deputy Mayor Martin Lang. Have the meeting open at 5:35 to the call of the chair. Were there any amendments to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Can I get a mover and a seconder for the agenda as presented? Moved by Councillor Jaworski, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. Approving the agenda as circulated. Are any changes to the minutes from the previous meeting that anybody noted that we need to change? None noted. All right, can I get a mover and a seconder to approve the previous meeting minutes? Moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang, that we accept the previous meeting minutes as presented. Declaration of pecuniary interest. Is there any that somebody has to forfeit or mention? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business, A1123, Desaulniers Construction, and Anderson. Ms. Haley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just get my presentation set up for the presentation. One moment, please. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
We can see you and we can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So we have one item on the agenda this evening. So before we get started, I would like to read some required wording under the Ontario Planning Act. This is a public meeting under, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I need to stop sharing for a second. I have opened the incorrect presentation. So one moment, please. There we go. This is the correct one. Sorry about that. Just need a second. There we go. Great. Sorry about that. So as I mentioned, we have one minor variance application before us this evening. So the required wording under the Ontario Planning Act is, this is a hearing under Section 44 of the Ontario Planning Act. Any person may attend this hearing and or make written or verbal representation either in support of or in opposition to the proposed minor variance. If a person, the applicant, or a public body does not make oral or written submissions at or before the hearing, before the minor variance is decided upon, the comments will not be considered by the Committee of Adjustment. Only the applicant, the municipality, and the Minister of Municipal Affairs or certain public bodies may appeal the decision of the minor variance of the Committee of Adjustment to the Ontario Land Tribunal, also known as OLT, within 20 days of the decision. So the application before us this evening is known as A1123. This property is located in the Township of Charlottenburg, former Township of Charlottenburg, I should say, Concession 1 front, west part of Lot 14, being parts 2 and 4 to 8 of Reference Plan 14R 6156. As I mentioned, it's now in the geographic Township of Charlottenburg in the Township of South Glengarry, and it's addressed as 19126 County Road 2 in Somerstown. The subject property is approximately 0.85 acres in size. This is a key map of where the property is located. Just to orient yourselves and the member of the public, County Road 27 is just located to the top right of my screen. And the property, as you can see, is located on the south side of County Road 2 and almost directly across from an historical property known as the Caribou Cameron House. So the purpose of the minor variance this evening is the owner is proposing to construct a 7-foot 2-inch by 23-foot pool shed. And the pool shed would also contain a roof covered common area within the required 30-meter watercourse setback on the subject property. Therefore, the requested following relief is to reduce the watercourse setback from 30 meters to 22 meters to the proposed pool shed. I do have some drawings for you, and I understand this is hard to see on the screen, but this drawing is an overall area of the subject property. This shows the existing single detached dwelling that was newly constructed. And then in this area is where the proposed pool shed is and the proposed pool. I do have a section that's zoomed in more that will help you see this a little more clearly. So you can see here the proposed pool shed. And then this would be the closed in portion, and this would be the open portion, almost acting like a gazebo, if you will. And then you can see from the delineation on here that the proposed setback is 22 meters to the closest point of the water. And then this is the location of the proposed pool. So we do have photos. The photos are taken from the roadside, so you're not able to see the water side, but hopefully this will help you remind you where this property is located. So as I mentioned, it's a newly constructed dwelling, and this is the front view of the property taken from County Road 2. And then here's another view, and then our final view. So of course, the proposed shed and pool is located on the south side of the dwelling on the water side. The property is designated rural settlement area in the county official plan. It's located in the Summerstown rural settlement area, and the application does conform to the general intent of the official plan. And the property is zoned residential 1 and floodplain holding, and conforms to the general intent of the zoning bylaw. There's only a very small portion of the property that has a floodplain on it. You can see from this zoning map that the floodplain is located on the very southern western portion of the subject property. The application was circulated to all abutting property owners within 60 meters and applicable municipal staff. I've not received any written comments to date from the public. We did receive one verbal comment requesting information regarding the height limit of the proposed pool shed, but there was certainly no additional comments provided, either opposing or supporting the application. We also circulated the application to the Raisin Region Conservation Authority. They have no objection to the minor variance as proposed. The committee members were provided with copies of the comments from the Raisin Region Conservation Authority. We also circulated to the United Counties of SD&G Transportation Department, and they also confirmed that they have no comments on the proposed variance. And Planning and Building departments support the application and recommend to the Committee of Adjustment to approve the application. So I'm happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I noticed we do have one attendee, Christian Mercier. I don't know if they wanted to speak to council. I see a hand up. Could we? Christian on.
Good afternoon, everyone, council members and Mr. Mayor. So Christian Mercier, Dissonly Construction. I'm actually acting on behalf of the owner and the applicant. Just wanted to speak on behalf of the applicant himself, Mr. Dissonlier. In this specific situation, just maybe adding a little bit that even though the height of the structure might not be determined yet, obviously we're going to follow the zoning bylaw, maximum heights for accessory building. So I don't foresee that being any issues. But if there's any other questions, we'd be happy to answer them today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mercier. Councillors or Deputy Mayor, are there any questions? Councillor Jaworski.
Thank you, through you, Mayor McDonald. I actually was going to ask Ms. Haley about the letter from the RRCA, because perhaps I'm looking in the wrong place, but I don't think it was in my package, but maybe I'm looking in the wrong place.
Through you, Mr. Chair, you may be. I attach any comments that are received in the calendar invite, because sometimes they're received not at the same time as we produce the package for you. So all attachments go into the calendar invite.
Okay, all righty, thank you. And then my other, if I may, Mayor McDonald, I have another question. And this could just be my memory failing me, but in the description of the minor variance, we refer to the pool shed, but not to the proposed pool. And I feel like we've gone through this process for a pool in the past. I'm wondering why the pool is not specifically referenced.
Again, through you, Mr. Chair, we have not gone through the process for a pool. We only do structures. Pools are not considered to be a structure in the zoning bylaw. Therefore, we don't do variances for the pools unless they don't meet the requirements of the zoning standards for pools in the zoning bylaw. In this case, that's not the case. So on the water side, I don't recall us ever doing a variance for a pool.
Thank you. I have a feeling Councillor McDonnell remembers what I'm thinking of, but thanks. That my recollection was that, yeah, that it's not considered a structure, but for some reason, I thought that we did discuss a pool at one point. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think Councillor Jaworski is referring to the property just outside of Lancaster. That pool was physically mounted in concrete and in construction, and it was considered more or less a structure. So there was concern that it could, in event of a major weather storm, slide into the St. Lawrence, the 200 meters or whatever the case was. It was kind of excessive, but yes, you weren't far off, but this would be probably just a basic in-ground kind of a fiberglass pool insert or something along those lines.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that is correct. In that particular case, it was an infinity pool that was proposed, and that wall was considered as a retaining wall as per the definition in our zoning bylaw, and that retaining wall supported the pool structure. So that is a perfect example of what maybe you're thinking of.
That's exactly what it was. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Lang?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I looked at the property yesterday and I see no issues with it. It's, you know, it's wide open lawn at the back and there's lots of structures and nearby properties that are closer. So if I'll make a motion to accept this, if there's no other comments.
All right, I see a seconder in Councillor McDonnell, so moved by Deputy Mayor Lang, seconded by Councillor McDonnell, that we approve this application as presented. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, and carried. So then our next order of business is to have our next meeting, which will be July 10th. That's next Monday, 5 p.m. at the Celtic Hall. Just recall, that is in person, so at the Celtic Hall, 5 p.m. next Monday. And I have a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Councillor Jaworski. Be resolved that we close the meeting at the call of the chair at 5:47 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Mercier, for your